Welcome to Isometric Sketching Exercise 1 on page 10-9 of your textbook. You see what the 3D model is for the sketching exercise. So this is essentially what we're going to be drawing using the isometric graph paper in the book. Now in the book you're only given the front view and the top view. And from that information, I'm going to show you how to create an isometric view. Now you might say, well, what's the point of doing this if I just have it in SolidWorks? Well, a couple things. Number one, sometimes you do have to sketch some ideas to try to convey ideas to people. You may not always have SolidWorks around. You may be having lunch with a client or a supplier and just want to convey some idea in 3 dimensions. So that's one reason. The other is to get you thinking about an idea known as the bounding box. And you'll see what that means. And that's really important as far as figuring out how much material is going to be wasted in a manufacturing process. So let's get over onto the textbook now. All right, here on page 10-9, we are going to be working on this drawing. And one of the things I've done, I've labeled a point number 1. All right, so this is the front. And what we want to do is find the frontmost corner of the object, and we're going to locate that generally in about the middle of the page here. So let me just make a point right there, and I'm going to label that 1. So that point 1 is that corner, and in the top view you see the corner there. All right, so what the idea in doing this first is to create a bounding box. This is going to be a rectangular box that would be the smallest rectangular box that this object could fit in. All right, so I've done some counting. There's 10 squares over this way. All right, so in the front view, we're going to count 10 squares, and you're going to go along one of these isometric lines. So you've got 3 sets of lines, some that are going 30 degrees left to upper right, others that are going 30 degrees lower right to upper left, and then you have the vertical ones. All right, so anytime we're counting squares in the front view, we're actually going along this set of lines. So we're going to go over 10 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I'm going to put a dot right there, and that's going to be point number 2. All right, now that is the front. Now let's see how high this box has to be. It has to be 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is count from point 1 and go 1, 2, 3 in the upward direction, and we're going to make a couple more points. And you don't have to make them very dark. All right, in the depth direction, there's 8 squares going back. So from point 1, I'm going to go 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let me just call that point number 3. So point number 3 is right back in this corner. All right, so the whole thing has a height of 3. So what I'm going to do is first create a box. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to put some light lines in here because I'm going to be doing some erasing. And notice the eraser is there at the handy, or at the ready. Okay, so I'm going to just lightly create a box. Just follow these lines, and the picture just about draws itself. Okay. Keep in mind you don't want to go too dark, and whatever you do, do not use pen. If you use pen and you make a mistake, obviously you're in trouble. Plus, this technique of using the bounding box requires drawing and erasing, a lot of drawing and erasing. Okay, so this right there, what you see in front of you, is the bounding box. And this is the smallest rectangle that you could mill this object out of. All right, now we're going to take some hints from the front view and figure out what we're going to do. We notice we have an incline here off the edge. So from the front view, you would be seeing this trapezoidal thing. Now, how far in is this upper point? You're going to go up 3 and over 2. So 1, 2, up 3, over 2. And I make a point right there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, up 3, over 1, 2. All right, and then on the back side, I'm going to go up 3, over 2. And way back here, there's going to be a hidden edge. I'll just make it dotted just so you can kind of see it. All right, we'll probably erase that later on, but I'm going to go up 3 and then over 2. And these points right in here, okay, so let's just call these, like, this will be point 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so point 4 is going to be, all right, it's going to be over, well, let's hold off on those points. Just looking at the front, I want to just cut this object so that it has the right inclines on the left and right side. All right, so I'm just going to draw a line across between right here, and then I'm going to draw a line here, and you're going to see that this is going to start making sense. Okay, and then over here, I'm going to draw a line, and back here, we're probably not going to see this, but I'm going to do a dotted line over there, and then we'll connect this. All right, so we can now do a little bit of erasing because we've just milled or sliced off the incline on the left and right side. So this material is now gone, and you just erase it. Alrighty. So I got point 1, 2, 3. Let me call 4 over here. I'm going to just erase these for now so we can keep track of our indices. So point 4 is right there. You can see from this vantage point, looking from the top right of the material, we're not seeing the incline very well. We're just going to see the top. All right, next up, we have to go and we've got to slice off some material here on the front and the back. All right, so what's the slice going to be there? We're going to have a point that I'll call 5 right here. And point 5 is this point right on the front there. So it's going to be up 3 over 2, up 3 over 2, which is here. But then in the top you can see it's also going to come over, it looks like about 1 square. So I'm going to locate point 5 right here. Now point 6 is going to be located, it's going to be up 3 over 2 and in 1. Okay, so that's going to be point 6 right there. And just using symmetry, we're going to have point 7 here, and then point 8 is going to be right here. All right. So now if we slice that off, we're going to change this little thing right here. Okay, and I'm going to go from 5 to 1 because 1 to 5 is connected. 2 to 6 is connected. So I'm just going to erase this a little bit. So we're going to connect 2 to 6. 7 goes to 4. Well, it's just going to take some of this off here. 7, we're not going to see it. It's just going to be a dotted line going to 4. 8 is going to go to 3. So I have a better chance going backhand here. I like backhand better, both in drawing and in tennis. Okay. Now 6 and 5 you can see are connected. So once you find the coordinates, you just connect them with lines. And now I'm going to do some erasing. I don't want to use up all my pencil eraser, so I'll take that out. Erase this up in here. Okay. And I'm almost done. Now these hidden lines out here in the back, I really no longer need. So I'm just going to erase those. And I have just one thing left to do. And I'll even erase point 4. I have to create this circle up on the top. Now the first thing you do with a circle is find where the center point is. All right, well it's right in the middle, so I'm just going to put a point. Now once I give the point, I like to draw a little center mark with the mark going in the two directions that for the two lines that lie in the plane of this top face. The top face being defined by 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, next thing is in the directions of these two lines, I want to mark off what the radius is. And I can get the radius up here. It looks like it's 1.5, or I can get it from the front view. It looks like it's 1.5. So I go from the start, and in each of these four principal directions, I'm going to go 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Okay? So now I've created some vertices that are going to get connected with a circle. Now to help guide the drawing of this circle, because from this vantage point in an isometric drawing, circles are going to turn into ellipses. So what I do is I just draw some lines, and I'm going to make a box that our circle is going to be inscribed in. Okay, so I know 4 points on my circle because those have the correct radii along the plane that I'm drawing. Now to connect these points, you use the square and create tangent connections. So you go tangent to tangent. Okay, so you want to always be tangent to the sides of the square. So I'm going to come in here tangent and come over there tangent. And then tangent to tangent. Finally tangent to tangent. Okay, so that's what the circle would look like. If you'd like, you can just erase the square that helped you draw it. And we're just about done. The only thing to check is sometimes if it's not a very high object, you may have another circle that'll show up from the bottom of the hole. And we can just quickly check that because this object it's 3 squares high. So I'm going to just take a point and go down 1, 2, 3. So on the bottom surface, okay, the center of the circle would be 3 below, 1, 2, 3. And we would have radiuses of 1.5 and 1.5. And as I draw like here, I can see that this circle on the bottom is not going to be visible through that hole on the top because it's just the object is too high. All right, so there is the object. Let's see what it looks like in SolidWorks again and see how close we are. So we've got the inclined surfaces, we've got the hole, we have done it. I can sign my name and date. This is John Waddick, and today is the 10th of September. So I'm trying to do this a little bit ahead of you. So there is the object done with isometric. It's a matter of creating the bounding box and then cutting away material just like you would in the machine shop with the milling tool. All the material that we would have to cut away from the bounding box is all going to end up as metal shavings and chips all over the machine and floor that you are going to have to clean up. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. We'll do exercise 2 and 3 in future videos.